Hey everyone, here with another commentary for John Woo's 1989 masterpiece, The Killer. Me and my buddy, compadre, my sister in arms, the only other person who has a code of honor besides me, Avalyn Wu. Both of us are here to talk about this amazing movie. This is a commentary which you can watch alongside your copy of the film. Uh, our version starts with the Golden Princess logo. So if you just start there and we press go, then you can watch alongside us. All right. Three, two, one, go.
Oh man, this is uh this is one hell of a movie.
Tastic logos.
Oh yeah, I mean I always love these logos from Hong Kong films in the 80s. They're very nostalgic in a way. I always have a distinct memory of seeing these on like a blurry TV of some kind.
What I love about them is that they're never in decent quality. Like it's always it just the
Right,
VH
right.
the VHS stink does not leave them.
No, exactly. Like even if the film itself looks immaculate, these logos always got to look like it's on VHS.
Yeah, because I got my Blu-ray here and I'm like, fuck man, this looks but it's a part of the charm.
No, it's perfect. I wouldn't change it.
Oh god, this fucking movie, this music.
The
I mean,
score,
I mean,
yeah.
this movie really is. I don't know. I feel like if you had to pick one Hong Kong movie of this era, this might be the one to like go in the Hall of Fame or what. You know what I mean? Like if you
I
had
mean,
to
I
like,
totally agree. Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
feels so emblematic of a whole ethos and a whole attitude, and would obviously go on to influence so much. And yeah, fuck. It's been a fair bit
Eh,
since I've seen this, but man, there's just so many indelible parts that you are
w-
incapable of forgetting.
Well, I mean, okay, like we're gonna open with this scene in the church. Like, obviously, John Wick Chapter 4 makes a very direct reference to
Oh
this,
yeah,
to like this set piece in the film.
all the candles.
Uh, yeah, and the church, and I mean, as we'll see later, the theme of heroic bloodshed of these two sort of brothers on opposite sides of a situation coming together. It's very it's become a sort of model that I think is, yeah, become very influential, which is interesting because I think the killer itself is already an amalgamation of so many other influences. You have John Woo bringing in, him working with Chang Che, bringing in that martial arts influence in Hong Kong, but obviously a lot of noir comes into play with this film, which I think is not talked about enough. But really, like at the end of the day, this to me is like it's a film noir that embraces its melodrama, essentially.
Yeah, well, we have Jean Pierre Melville, Senjin Suzuki. Like
Right.
you have all these bits, and they all coalesce together in like a beautiful union. And yeah, like for me, because I kind of started with this movie and other John movies before I got into other stuff,
Right.
and then going back to this after seeing those directors, it's like it's so rewarding because you just feel like, oh, like now
Oh
everything's come
yeah.
together. I can see, you know, not how the sausage is made, but I can see how it's like it's paying homage to the past while constructing a new future.
Hmm.
And to me, like this is just like so it's elemental filmmaking, right? Because what do you start off with? You almost start with like this like gothic ambience of like the rain in the church and all these candles, like it's fucking Dracula or some shit. And
Right.
like immediately we just go into like the most basic setup. It's like, all right, he's got a job, he's got a gun, and then he just walks into the rain while this
And
Sally
and
A song plays.
and there's an established relationship between these two men of trust, which
Yes.
is important thematically for what
Well, it's so
develops later.
minimalist too, right? Like there's just
Right.
it's so stripped back. Because like I
Well,
think Joe
yeah, yeah.
gets this reputation as like, all right, it's all big
He's
and
like a
loud.
maximalist. No, not at
He
all.
has a lot
Yeah.
of quiet stuff in his movies, a lot.
Like you watch A Better Tomorrow, that movie's very restrained a lot of the time. Like
Oh, and these like quick
uh,
fades. It's so beautiful. Oh my
and this
god.
song, this whole like the soft lighting, the sort of the red colors, yeah, the fades, and the classic Hong Kong editing of there being overlaps between shots of what's edited in to really elongate a scene. All it's so romantic and beautiful to me. And God, I love this song so much. When this song is featured in Ash's Purest White, it's like it really brings like this whole tradition together.
Well, again, it's like John Woo's. I don't even know how to describe it, but just like his use of music, especially in these early movies, it feels very much, I don't know, almost like Leone and Morricone, right? It gets so
Definitely.
iconic.
Well, yes, it's I mean, okay, bringing up Western, I think another reference point for me with this film, I read a book on Gun Crazy that kind of talks about how the noir is just the urbanized Western. And I think
100%, yes.
in many ways you can sort of see this film as a part of that lineage in that case.
Yeah, it's like Hong Kong becomes this chaotic playground of all these financial interests, crime, and like these different cultures, right? So it's kind
Right,
of like the
right.
West where it's like kind of a liminal frontier zone for this global
Absolutely.
economy that's emerging. And
Oh
and of
yeah.
course, much like how like the West always has to end, right? You had the end of Hong Kong's relationship with Britain and then its reunification with the mainland coming up, right? So it's already
Oh
kind of
yeah.
all the mythologies built into here.
Exactly. On top of it also having great shootouts like the one we're seeing.
Yeah, so like it almost feels criminal to talk over this, but it happens so quickly. It's hard to say much.
But
Like,
okay, his editing, as we were talking about before, there's an impression that people get of John Woo as this like kind of big maximalist who just kind of throws shit at the wall. But there's a real precision to his craft. I mean,
he's a musician.
the editing of all of this is so precise, it's so perfect. And what I will say, what I love the most about this scene, obviously it's about how cool and badass and professional Chow Yun Fat is, as always. But there is a genuine sense of not only danger, but I think an established consequence of what he does. On the one hand, there's the collateral damage of Sally Ye's character having her eyes, being blinded by this incident, which
Well, like
sets
he
into place
wraps
the.
his scarf around her eyes. It's so
Yeah,
like
yeah.
brutal, man.
There's like a moral sort of dimension that emerges from this, but also the fact that like him killing this guy is like a contract from his brother who takes over the triad. I mean, there's a sense where like the lone sort of professional killer inevitably comes wrapped in the politics of his organization, whether he likes to or not, even as a contract
Well,
killer.
if you want to bring
Yeah.
in like Wu's Catholicism into this, like it's almost as if his triad assassins and these underworld figures, the Cheyenne Fat character is like a sin eater, right?
Yes.
He's
Yes.
like absorbing all the conflicts of others and carrying out these debts that aren't really his, and the only way to really operate in that world is to, you're using I don't know, like the stoicism as a mask to make up for the fact that like what you're doing really doesn't have any feeling behind it. And
Hmm.
it's very keyed into the stuff with the samurai where it's like it literally isn't personal at all. Like it's totally mechanized, and like the effect that that has on the soul. And I think that's what this
Right.
movie is about, is like how can you have a mode of ethics and a way of being, and just a yeah, how can you have a soul in a world that's so brutal like this?
Right. God, I mean, okay, that shot, that insert of Chow Yun Fat with the blood emerging on the screen is it's so evocative. He does a couple of times throughout these movies where there's these insert shots that are almost like they almost break you out of the mold of the film itself. Um,
Yeah,
but
they're
yeah, I mean,
astonishing.
to what you're saying, I think what's an interesting point of contrast between the killer and the samurai. The samurai obviously very much sort of stays within that stoic mode, even into its end when Jeff Costello is betrayed and so on and so forth. I think what I love so much about the killer is, as we'll see this later developed, this sense of Chow Yun Fat living in a world that he doesn't really belong in anymore, and his growing sort of moral consciousness and this growing embrace of that emotion, as a kind of rupture in the professional structure of both him and, as we'll later see, the police character as well.
Yeah, no, oh my god, the lighting in this movie
It's
is insane.
immaculate.
It's like candy colored, but it's so incredibly stark and effective. And just again, like I mean, look, if you want to talk about like the neon hell of Nick Refn or uh
Right.
John Wick, right? Like these this era of this we had it in American films, but especially like in Hong Kong, every single movie in this vein, or like so many movies that came out, it's all neo-expressionist shit. Like it's all just
Oh,
the
totally.
hardest shadows, the brightest, most oversaturated colors. And again, it's like the with John Woo, it's his character's emotions are almost spilling out into the environment with color.
Exactly. No, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, look at this, right? Like this is again rain on pavement. It's what we like to fucking see.
It's immaculate. Yeah, you really can't get better than that.
What I also like about John Woo as a storyteller is that he's so he efficiently sets up just the basic parameters of what he's doing, and then
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
spends the rest of the runtime complicating it. Whereas I
No,
think a
exactly.
lot of filmmakers like kind of they futz around and they add this here and there, and like they draw it out more. Like
Yeah.
John Woo just he's like so elemental, and he's like, all right, here you go, here's the struggle of the movie. Like same thing with the First to
Well,
Better
yeah.
Tomorrow, right? Like you
No,
totally
oh yeah.
understand who these
It's
characters are, what their plight is, what their emotions are.
yeah, and
And
then it's just a cascading sort of downfall from there, basically, in that movie,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, there's a lot of tumbling down, and this too. I mean, this we'll get to it, but the ending to this is so like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fuck,
Well, I think yeah, you're totally right because like the emotional directness of his movies comes from that. Like this movie is very much, and a lot of his movies really are sort of premised on a parallel. And we'll see this with the way he edits the rest of the movie, but you know, he basically establishes a parallel between either two characters or two sets of characters, and from there we see that dynamic evolve, and that's the transformation. That's the dramatic tension of the film, basically.
well, and look, I just love this bit where like he's like feeling his scarf with the like the faded blood on it, and then he has
Right.
this internalized flashback to like wrapping it around her eyes. And
Oh
just again,
yes.
like John was his movies are so tenderly physical. There's so many moments where characters, they handle an object or they feel clothes or like in A Better Tomorrow you have the Mark Kors jacket, right? Like his like there's something uh almost like in a way, like it reminds me of that shit in Fast and Furious 4, where it's like Vin Diesel will just like walk up and touch something, and like he'll be like, I know this happened, and like he'll do
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
like he'll like construct it like he's Batman or whatever. But in here, I love the cross cutting with it because it just hits you again and again with these
Absolutely.
emotions that these characters can't get over.
Exactly. And using the song as the trigger, and also the way the camera pans around his face, that use of camera movement, and then flowing into the next scene where we're finally introduced to the cop, to Danny Lee's character at the basketball court. Immediately there's an intuitive understanding, okay, there's a connection between these two characters, and we're gonna see that play out.
I say I love this bit immediately. Where he's just telling them like, "You're too earnest. Like they'll know it's you." Like,
No,
I
you're a cop, yeah. And
oh my god,
actually,
the
to go back
neon.
to
Look at this.
exactly to go back to what you're saying, I did like this movie didn't have a huge budget. They could pull this off because Hong Kong just kind of looked like that. Like, with Refn and with John Wick, they did have to dress up,
Yeah, you got
Los
to stick
Angeles
neon
or New
bars
York.
everywhere.
But Hong Kong, it was like this is what a good chunk of like central Wan Chai looked like in the 80s. I think there was just like with his movies, like Hard Boiled has this feeling. You really feel like it's a lived-in city. Like they really know this setting well.
Well, I think that's the secret sauce of these movies is that you see it in John Woo and Choi Hark and Johnny To. Like, there's so much amazing use of locations. and you just
Absolutely.
like they don't have to fucking really fake anything because they could just go out into the streets like the Ringo Lamb movie, like Full Contact. Like they're doing this
Oh
crazy,
yeah.
insane car chase, and you can see like the people in the background are
They
not like
have no idea
extras.
what's going on.
They're just
Yeah.
like, what's happening? It's like, you know, and it's just incredible to me how yeah, how lived in it feels, right? So you can have, like you said, this neo expressionist lighting, but you don't actually have to do that much. You just like, all right, spray some fucking water on the streets, and that's your set, right? Like you're good to go.
Yeah. Maybe have some key lighting on the actors' faces, but that's it, you know?
Yeah, all the neon is already there, basically.
Right, right.
Oh god, his dude, the editing is so fucking precise. Like it
It
is,
is. Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I can't like John. Like I can't imagine the amount of care that it goes into constructing these things.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And
so
it's interesting because John Woo is actually not operating in the classic Hong Kong mold of, showing the action unfold in one shot, like, classic martial arts movie.
no.
He does construct a lot of it from the editing, and a lot of the kineticism of that comes from it.
Yeah, honestly, to me, like when I watch this now, I can't help but see musicals in it. It
Oh,
feels it
totally.
feels
Yeah.
so balletic, and so much is placed on the emphasis of like characters tumbling or throwing themselves, like or pointing their arms, gesturing. It's all uh, done in this very physical way, and yeah, like this whole bit, like he's like chasing, like look at this, like they're out on the fucking streets, with waving these guns around, and it's like I wouldn't be surprised if some of the passengers on this bus were just like fucking like okay,
Yeah, they were genuinely like, what the fuck, am I gonna die right now? Like,
yeah.
God, these
So
trams in Hong Kong.
what I like about Danny Lee's character here is that it's almost like John Woo gets the he gets like another version of the secret sauce where not only do you have the Le Samurai hitman character, but he kind of does one better than Melville, who never really was able to like do the cop character all that well. Like it always
Right,
felt like flat and uninteresting in his movies because he just wasn't interested, right? Whereas
right,
here,
right.
what I like is that John was like, let's take Le Samurai and combine it with like Dirty Harry, basically,
No,
and
literally,
have
yeah.
these like two characters collide, and it's really ingenious because I think like we've seen it plenty of times before, but I think John Woo frankly just does it best here because both of them are so on the edge that you really believe like yeah these guys are they're living on the line so much that it's like everything they feel is felt 10 times harder, right? So that's why I never get like when people say like oh his movies are too melodramatic or whatever. It's like he's dealing with extreme situations like
Yeah, I mean, this is
in
a
Bullet in
con.
the Head, right? Like you deal with like
Oh
these
my God,
so desperate characters who literally have no money and like are just
they're
like
trapped in Vietnam.
they're going
Yeah,
to a war to
a
try and
war.
like
Yeah,
make something of themselves. It's like that's that's the place of these characters, and I wonder is there something of John Woo in that where he kind of feels like you you almost you're existing on this edge and like like what code do you live by, what like how do you construct your life out of something when you don't have that much.
right. Also, I mean, yeah, they briefly showed that statue of Guan Yu, who was the military general for Liu Bei during the Three Kingdoms period, who's kind of treated as like this deity, uh, even though he's like a historical figure, and he represents literally like loyalty,
Oh
and
really? Okay.
yeah, no, like literally that's what he
So is that
represents
the
in
same
Chinese
kind of
culture.
statue that shows up in a lot of triad movies like
Yes,
that?
he's usually in triad movies and cop movies as well. You can actually find him at like police stations and stuff,
Oh my god,
and
I love this
yeah.
bit where he, dude, this is the most like fucking over dramatic shit in the world though. Like he like throws the can to catch him, and he just like it literally just bounces off his hand in slow
Yeah,
motion.
yeah, and it's so good, and you see like the foam spraying everywhere, and
Now, see, this is like insane John Woo logic. Like a shooter without two hands is like the same as a cripple. Like I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's true, but in John Woo's world, it
Okay.
absolutely is true because you have to
Okay.
be shooting two guns.
But yeah, like as one of the characters says in Hard Boiled, give a man one gun, he's a superhero. Give a man two guns, he's a god. You know.
God, I mean, I feel like, I mean, look, whatever else influences he had, like John Woo basically invented that shit, right? Like who else did that before? No
Right,
one. It was never a thing.
right.
Now,
Well, well,
now
it's like
the killer's apartment in this, like again, he like lives in like a neo-expressionist. He lives in like a Fritz Lang apartment or some
no,
shit. Where
he does.
like
It's
there's
so
again, it's like the neon sign outside his window, and like it's it's all like these like expressionist, like weird, like Art Deco lighting and shit.
the thing is like when my dad still has his apartment in Wan Chai, which is like a very dense sort of area in Hong Kong. It's very close to Central. Like in a way, like you could honestly easily get an apartment like that because I remember like growing up and living there. Through our window, we would just get like the lights of the signs coming into the apartment, and like. But naturally, by default, it would just become this like neo expressionist landscape, as you said. Like you just be sitting there like eating dinner, and you're like, "Wow, I'm in like a John Woo movie right now."
Yeah, that whole oh, like, I forgot the use of like freeze frames in this movie. It's so
Oh,
cool. It's
totally.
awesome.
It's
I
so
wish more
good.
directors did that kind of shit because he uses it with transitions a lot here.
Yes, very much. I love that. Yeah, when there's a phase transition, he holds onto the freeze frame.
Yeah, and when there's earlier in the scene, he's like, going through the guns. He's like easy to pick up, difficult to put down. Right?
Right.
It's I think it's this idea in a lot of like wuxia and martial arts and triad movies where you have these characters who are kind of like trapped within a certain uh, situation of karma, and like they're trying to basically like see if there's any exit away from that, and then most of the time there fucking isn't, and
Right.
it's like it's almost like all right, but if I can't like save myself like in this movie, can I at least save someone who's like worth more than me, who I've done wrong by? And
Exactly.
like you see this in like a touch of Zen too. Like that whole film is about these characters trying to exit this underworld of violence.
Hmm. And I guess a touch of sin is them trying to escape an overworld of violence. So.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We should do a touch of sin commentary. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we've done platform. We'll just keep going down the Jajangcup
All his movies
path.
are great, so yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that'd be
yeah.
awesome to do. Oh my god! So this whole
Yeah.
bit, this
Oh
this
God,
scene
this
has
is
been
so
ripped
good.
off
So
so
many
many
times.
fucking times. Like I mean, there's a little bit of like Suzuki in here, I guess, but like this, like the thing with the boat in particular, I've seen so many fucking movies where it's like, an assassination and there's like some like vague sporting event
Event.
going on,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, or
It's
like a
a
parade or
cover,
whatever. It's like
and
they
and it
owe
get
so much.
and it gives him an opportunity to do more cross cutting because he's
Oh
gonna cross
yes,
cut. I won't say anything now, but he's gonna cross cut the shit out of this scene. Like, and I love like the cops kind of being like, oh, we have to protect like this dickhead. Like,
yeah, they're like fuck this guy.
yeah, yeah. Man, Dragon Boat, one hell of a sport.
Yeah, it looks intense. You gotta have coordination. Oh
Oh
my
my
god,
god,
the
it's
like okay, Danny Lee's jacket in this is so fucking fire. Like the striped
yeah,
jacket that he
yeah,
has.
yeah, he looks good.
Now, okay, the mustache that Cheyenne Fat has in this scene,
Oh, it's
it,
so
it it
good.
rules. This he's got like a '70s like I don't know mustache. Like it's incredible.
And also the slightly like grayed out hair that he has. Like
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's up with that, but he's rocking it.
he looks good. What can I say? Aw, his real lover in sight. Like I think like his relationship with Sally Yi to me always it always struck me as like fundamentally quite chaste, really. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's like really a moral relationship more
Yes,
than it is like a
I
romantic one.
100% agree. Yeah.
Whereas him and Danny Lee, oh boy, that's some real yaoi shit right there. Like,
Oh yeah, that's we love to see it, folks. Yeah, the music that plays during this is so eerie.
it
It's
is,
real
yeah.
like yeah.
I got him getting ready to shoot. I mean, great stuff. Yeah, you got his POV of the guy, you know.
Well, again, and like he's like painting the dragon's eyes, and then we have obviously
Right.
the motif of her eyes, and like
Yes.
John will just
Oh yeah.
he executes all this stuff with such precision. Like it feels yeah, he's got. I mean, these match cuts happen so quickly that you basically don't like you register them emotionally, but not mentally, really.
Right, right. Yeah, it only took me a few watches to really make sense of what he was
It's a
doing.
dense movie. Like it's a
It
simple
is.
story, but it's like it's densely told. This is like yeah, like the peak John Woo thing of like staging an action several times before it goes down. Like him
No,
holstering the
exactly.
rifle, like it's like one, two, three, four, then he does it, and it's just it fucking rolls, dude.
I mean that's the reason why, because despite everything happening so quickly and the action being so fast, you do register everything so legibly,
Because he
and
uses
yeah,
repetition.
you're never lost as to what is happening. Yeah.
Yeah, frankly, no fucking action director today has the fucking fortitude to do some shit like this.
Right,
Like
right.
they just like it's considered too gauche and like whatever. But like to me, I love that John Woo just he plays in his own realm and he abides by his own rules. And I love that little like the sound effect of like the slow motion water,
Yeah.
like the bloop. Like there's all these little grace notes in John Woo's cinema that just it's like you didn't need that, but you did have it, and thank God.
It has a lot. I mean, also a boat chase scene that I think rivals Miami Vice, honestly. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean this is the era of the fucking cigarette boats.
yeah.
Oh man, I would how much I would kill for like I don't know, like the fucking Miami Vice like John Woo universe crossover. It's basically like the it in a lot of ways like Man and Woo are very similar filmmakers. Like I
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
they're both like very like the children of Peckinpah essentially.
Very much, yeah.
I forgot how tight he is in this movie. Like some movies he goes a bit more like operatic and wider with some of the shots. Here, like everything's so tight. Like it's
Oh
very
yeah.
close up, like a lot of long lens stuff. God, yeah, this cross cutting is nuts. Like just
Yeah,
after
between
watching like
the
a bunch of Eisenstein movies, I feel like fuck, who's doing it, man?
oh yeah. No, totally. Well, that's why Eisenstein, his movies feel like action movies because he edits them in the way that action movies would do later, you know?
Yeah, I would also say this about John Woo is that I don't. Obviously, he didn't really operate in this sphere because I don't. Yeah, I just don't think he ever did. But
Right.
what he also gets from Scorsese with his use of music is that his movies feel music video-y sometimes.
Oh, yeah, totally, totally. It's not Wonka Wai quite yet, but yeah, it's getting there, you
But
know?
you can see where like the space that John Woo would carve out is like that's like where a Wong Kar Wai could fully, bloom into what he would become, right? Like
Yeah, well,
there's this
as
interesting tradition of like it's
yeah,
like these like Scorsese derivatives where they just go like so much more and more extreme after what he does in Mean Streets, and like you see it here, right? Like the way the music is used is. I mean,
absolutely.
with the opening beginning, right? You feel
Yeah. All
it's
the
so
canto
poppy,
pop.
but
Yeah.
melancholic, and like it feels fresh, but also nostalgic at the same
Well,
time.
the melancholy nostalgia is such an essential part of canto pop for me that I imagine that kind of bleeds over into the film itself quite a
Do you feel
bit.
like it was
Yeah.
present even when this film was made? Like, was that a thing in like those kind of songs
I
that
I
was
don't know about
acknowledged?
the nostalgia, but definitely the melancholy for sure. Because I mean, the song's lyrics are fundamentally about longing, failed love, and a lot of these songs very much are about that kind of yearning. And I imagine like once those songs age to a certain degree, especially people who grew up with that music, that nostalgia is just like inevitable in a way. Dude, Chow Yun Fat's charm with this like kid is
Yeah.
so
Dude, this
wonderful.
is like again, this is peak movie shit of like
Oh
seeing the
yeah, yeah.
reflection of the sniper
This
glare in
on
your
the sunglasses.
sunglasses.
It's so good. I showed my friend Carson the scene and he just died laughing. He was like, "This is so perfect."
Holy shit. I'm sorry. Like for anyone listening, dude, just fucking watch this alongside us. This shit rips so fucking hard.
I know it rips so fucking hard. All because like relatively speaking, this is not like hard boiled where there is like a shootout basically every like 5 minutes.
Hard boiled is
Like,
insane. Like hard boiled is like it's like
but
almost too much. Like it's
but
just it's like you get it, right?
yeah, yeah, but nonetheless, like when the shootouts do happen in this movie, it's like the coolest shit ever.
Dude, okay, that look at this fucking scene with like the storm behind them and them arriving on the beach. It's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's again, that's like a Miami Vice shot. It's insane. That part earlier when he shoots through like the curtain and the curtain catches on
It
fire
catches
because
on
of his bullets.
fire.
What the
Yeah,
fuck? Like what is it's just audacious filmmaking. I'm
yeah.
so it's so fucking bold. Oh Jesus Christ, man. Dude, this is a fucking kid walling around. Like, oh my god. Earlier when
Oh
we
my
saw like
god.
when like the first bullets flew and like the birds just like
Yeah,
started flying out the
yeah.
trees. Again, like it's like John Woo he has these it's like suddenly like nature intrudes and creates this bigger sense of a world and a space. And he also has that in Mission Impossible too with the final showdown where like the waves
Oh,
are breaking as
yeah,
like Tom Cruise
yeah.
like does a kick and then like the wave whoosh, it's fucking awesome.
Well,
That god that,
here
oh sorry, go ahead.
no, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, here we do have the open landscape a little bit. So, we've kind of entered like a Western sort of territory with, a setting like this. It's kind of similar to the scenes in Macau in Johnny Toe's Exiled, where, you know, some moments they're in this dense urban setting, but then like immediately they also enter like this sort of desert-like landscape as well. It's really fascinating, I think. And I think it goes to show that that kind of tradition and that kind of connection is still there. Now we have two lovers pursuing each other.
That's right.
I can't not think of this movie in those terms anymore.
Well,
Like,
and I think we should be empowered to do so. All right, no
yeah,
shame, no fucking shame at all.
yeah, this is toxic
Well, this
yaoi.
is what I mean. Again, like going back to the original reception of this movie in the West, like this is what always frustrates me is that like that was something that was kind of made fun of. And I just feel like
Right.
no, like really, like I mean, not even in retrospect, like even at the time, but like especially now, I think that's what makes John Woo's cinema really unique is that he's not afraid of like he does what he does, and there's like not this like uh-huh but no homo kind of thing. Like there's never that
Oh
shit. Like
God, not at
he's never
all. Yeah.
ashamed of the emotions that his characters
He's
have
so
for each other.
sincere. Yeah, he fully embraces them. I mean, that's what I really respect about his movies. That kind of sincerity is honestly greatly needed in a lot of contemporary movies.
Yeah, no, I'm sick to death of the fucking we're so ironic and self-conscious about every single fucking thing. Like
No,
that's
exactly.
look, that's been ever since the 70s, that's been done to fucking death. It's boring.
And then the 90s like Gen X like edgelord sensibility also just it prolongated it. It's
Yeah, it's kind of mystifying to me why guys like Tarantino, they love John Woo and stuff and included references in their movies because like Tarantino's like it's almost like the exact opposite of a John Woo
Oh,
guy.
totally. I mean, yeah,
Like,
you take a movie like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I mean, that whole movie's just kind of like I mean, it's kind of gags and just like,
well, it's
self-referential humor. Yeah,
yeah. Whereas like John Woo is kind of allergic to that stuff. Like, we could
very
talk about the
much.
doves or whatever, right? But I don't think he's doing the dove thing on purpose. Like
Oh,
I mean, he is, but I don't think it's like
yeah, yeah.
I don't think he's doing it as like a this is my thing. I think he's more doing it as like this is what I do.
Yeah, yeah, and I think he genuinely finds something evocative in it. You know, it's
Okay, we're talking about the
yeah,
birds flying from the trees, right? Like that's he's an image maker. He's constructing these images using the elemental forces around him. He's like,
exactly.
what can make this have the most impact?
Also, God, framing the two of them between the girl in the hospital bed and the doctors is so perfect. I
I mean,
mean,
this is a classic ass scene. This is
I
like
know it's so good.
so like
The two of them like meeting for the first time, and it's
that
so
like
good.
long lens close up on her fingertips moving. Just wow. It's, yeah, Danny Lee's like his like suit jacket and his pants in this so 80s. And again, he is dressed up like fucking like Sonny Crockett. Like it just
Yeah,
looks
he really
awesome.
is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then Hard Boiled Tony Leung's character would literally live on a fucking boat. Like,
Oh my god, yeah.
oh yeah, this fucking shit where he steals the car keys, genius.
It's so good.
And yeah, now we're sort of progressing in the film where, he establishes this parallel between, the rogue cop who's kind of who because of his perseverance kind of maybe puts other civilians in danger, with Chow Yun Fat's character, this assassin who's caused this collateral damage of a civilian. And now I think we're really getting into how these two rogue figures are pushing against the respective organizations that they're in. um
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Dude, I love the shit. He has this manly air about him.
No,
He's a
oh,
bit different
he's
from your average murderer.
yeah,
Dude,
he's
this to
oh
me
my
is like
god, yeah,
this is
yeah.
like the Fujo nosebleed
No,
stuff.
it is.
His eyes are very alert. He's
Yeah,
intelligent, full of
yeah, yeah.
compassion. Like I'm gonna die right now. Like it's so
No,
the
he's in
freeze
love with
frame.
him.
He's the freeze frame. What the fuck? And then it transitions to him. Oh my god, I
They're in love
can't
with each
stand it.
other. What can I say? This
Him
guy,
just him
he
sweating.
he he respects him so deeply. Yeah, no, dude, this shot of Cho Yun Fat just sweating his ass off, staring into the camera.
God.
That's how I feel sometimes in this summer heat when I get back to my apartment. I'm just staring like,
Oh, tell me about
damn.
it. It's awful.
I feel like Cho Yun Fat right now.
Yeah, you're gonna pick up your Beretta 93s and just go to town.
I'm gonna, yeah, throw a can of beer to my buddy.
Oh no, Av, you forgot that my other hand doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Oh man, these
Yeah,
apartments, these remind me of like
yeah.
the Eric Romero apartments, where you just have like like a little bit of decoration on these stark white walls.
Yeah, I mean, this is also like the Michael Mann house. Like, this
Yeah. Well, okay, if it was a Michael Mann house, there wouldn't even be any portraits or
is true.
paintings.
Oh, true. Yeah, Neil Macaulay's house, like, is fucking nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, his sans bed frame too. Oh my god,
Uh,
this fucking shot of the office. Holy shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
See, this is always an interesting thing in John Woo's universe is that it's like you have these very earnest characters who have ethics, and then you have these like super
The crazy
cutthroat,
psycho.
yeah, the psycho
Yeah.
cutthroat people, and like there's seemingly no reconciliation between them, right? There's never really a moment in these movies where it feels like John Woo is interested in like
Like,
uh
they can reach an agreement or actually negotiate with each
yeah,
other.
it's
There's
like
just like
it's a
there's like a
world that's like
fundamental
based
difference.
on yeah, it's like you almost
Yeah.
it's like a Manichean universe where you're either a person who's like good inside or like you're just kind of a beast basically.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to compare this to like Full Contact, which would come out a couple of years later. Like Full Contact's like a movie where basically everyone's a piece of shit.
Everyone's
Everyone's
insane.
terrible.
Dude, that movie's insane. Yeah, everyone's just insane in that
It's a
movie.
bonkers movie. Well, okay,
We're
full contact commentary. We gotta do that.
Oh my god.
I'll do it myself if I have to.
I'm more of a City on Fire gal, but it's
Yeah, we'll
just
do
it's
that too. That's another great movie.
yeah, yeah.
It's so
Also,
interesting that
I
like Chow Yun Fat didn't really have. He kind of was in the dumps before John Woo started working with him.
no,
I
very
just feel like
much.
fuck. I mean,
Yeah.
he's so charismatic. I don't. He's
Which is
easily
crazy
just
because
one of the most charismatic actors I've ever seen in a movie. And I'm like,
because
how could he ever be on the outs?
he did like an adaptation of like a really famous Hong Kong novel by Aileen Chong, in my opinion, probably the best writer Hong ever created. Love in a Fallen City. He was the lead actor in that movie. It's like how did he not get big from that? Like it really took until A Better Tomorrow for that to happen. And actually, given the a little bit production history about this movie, because Chow Yun Fat felt so indebted to John Woo for bringing him into the limelight, he basically like made this movie The Killer happen. Because Choi Hark was actually kind of skeptical on whether or not this movie would make any money, and it wasn't like a massive hit. But Choi Yun Fat was like, "No, I want to do this. Like, I'm gonna bring like the company that I'm signed to, and they're gonna finance it." And then when they got Danny Lee on board, he was like, "Oh well, my company has to get involved too." So you got two companies financing this movie, and God bless him for it.
I yeah, I don't really. I need to watch more of his movies, obviously, and maybe like read some stuff up on him. Treyarch is like a mysterious man to me. I don't quite understand. I mean, I think he's a great director, but like he seems like a very chaotic individual, very
Very
arbitrary.
much. That's why, Better Tomorrow 3, there's a
Yeah.
kind of Sino-Soviet split in the Hong Kong film industry.
Yeah. Yes, yes, the left bank and the right bank of that's true. I mean, I love both of those movies, so yeah. But I
No,
mean,
yeah,
like A
yeah,
Better
yeah.
Tomorrow 2 bears the scars of that, I think. Uh
Right.
I mean that's a movie where I would love to see what was original cut of it. It probably doesn't
No,
even exist
exactly.
anymore, but
It
I wish
doesn't.
that it
Yeah.
would. Because like what he probably like filmed fucking 3 hours of that nonsense.
Right. God, that shot of the pan across Chow Yun Fat behind the glass, immaculate shot. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, see, I like how he's like definitely paranoid now. It's like, all right, I'm getting
Oh
shot at by
yeah.
the cops and by my organization.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now my best friend, even I can't trust him.
You know, I don't really know like whether this is a factor in John Woo's life or not.
Uh-huh.
I mean, his movies have so much betrayal in them. There's so much of this like, who can I trust? Who's this? Like, I don't really think it's like paranoia as much as it is like these strong feelings of loyalty. It's something he cares so much about. I feel like there's almost like any breach of that just feels like I don't know, like very traumatizing for his characters. Like in Bullet in the Head, like they what those guys go through, like it just shatters them. Like it just totally
Yeah. Oh,
destroys them.
totally.
And
It's
he
all
just
consuming. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that it's kind of like a Treasure of the Sierra Madre thing where you feel like the presence of, this money like just divides them. And I almost feel like that's a running undercurrent in all of his movies. Like in A Better Tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
1, you have the plates, right? The counterfeit plates, and you just right here, right? You have this scene where you have the the briefcase full of nothing, and it just
Yeah.
feels like it's almost like the money is always a lie, right? Like there's
Yes,
like
it's
you
always
just
something arbitrary in a
these
way. Yeah,
relationships are
or
based on like what really matters. It has to be based on action, not like whatever contractual systems that people have set up.
right. There's like yeah, because there's almost like it's purely fantastical. So
This is such a
you know,
heartbreaking thing. Like China
I
Fat's face
know
in this, it's just
it,
it's brutal.
he's such a good performer. Like obviously he's known for his charisma, but he genuinely is so good at pulling off the melodrama as well. I mean, John Woo's life was very tumultuous from what I understand. Like he was mostly homeless as a child.
Oh, jeez.
I think there was something about his father, and a lot of gang warfare present at the time, and I think it's only because the church kind of gave some financial aid that he was able to get through life. So I think there's a huge element for him of like the relationship between these faith-based organizations and violence and paranoia, desperation.
Oh my
Okay,
god, this
when he
scene.
when that gun emerges from his sleeve, that shit is so
Well, then he
good.
pops it out. The door opens. It's all done with this one take, and he just it's
Yeah,
so smooth. It almost looks like has a higher frame rate or some shit, but it's not. It's just he
it
does it
really
so
isn't.
slickly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Hong Kong guys, they always choreograph the hell out of everything. So it's like, or not choreograph, but they're just so fluent at these kinds of movements or what they're doing.
Now, this is like the classic thing that everyone has stolen. I always save one bullet to either kill
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
else or
yeah.
myself. Like, how many movies have fucking taken that shit?
Except this film, as we'll see later, takes that idea to a really devastating end.
Oh, this music is nuts. Yo, the bullet,
The
the
bullet, the single bullet
holy shit,
in the slow
dude.
motion, dude. It's
That's the
crazy.
most brutal shit ever, too. Like he just he's it's like my man's about to piss his pants. It's just like fuck, dude. Like, see, this the thing is like he's trying to apologize afterwards. And he's just like, I never want to see your ass again, motherfucker. Like,
Yeah. Oh
and then the rest of
god.
this movie is him trying to redeem himself. You know, like you just
Yeah. Yeah.
again you have like themes of betrayal and redemption are constant.
Very, very religious. Very Catholic. Honestly, which is shocking. I mean, the Madonna is such a huge sort of presence in this movie.
So did he like buy her picture or did she like give him a picture of herself or something?
It'd be funny if he just like took it.
Oh my god! Like she's blind. He's just like, oh, well, you
Yeah,
have a picture of
yeah.
yourself lying around
Well,
here.
she has a few. I mean, when we first established like her apartment, like we see there's a few pictures of her. It'd be so funny if he just literally took one of them and was
He's
like,
just
"Oh,
like,
this is my."
yoink, you won't miss this. Uh, playing it for
uh, the
CD, dude.
song coming in. Okay, we're gonna quickly see like one of my favorite instances of cross cutting in the entire
Look at
movie.
this. Oh my god, this is genius.
Uh, this song brings so much God.
Like,
See,
this is like
okay,
perfectly
again,
done too. Like you look at like
exactly.
it's exactly.
Also, as I said earlier, when we first established the connection between the two, it's the pan. It's the pan, it's the fluidity of that movement, one leading to the other, that really creates this sense like these two are bound together.
Well, I mean, you could watch this movie without any of the dialogue, anything like that,
And you
and
would still
you would
fundamentally
still get it, right?
understand
Again,
what's going
and you
on.
have
Yeah.
this parallel where like he's sitting in the same chair, right? It's almost like he completes the same action that he did.
No,
Like
literally,
it's a
yeah.
unique thing that see in a lot of detective movies where it's like I need to place myself in the mind of whatever, right? But it's like here it's done so wordlessly, and you just feel like he's like evoking what he must have felt while sitting in this apartment, right? It's like the genius loci of his emotions that he's felt, and he's able to key into that and kind of understand what his situation is and where he's going.
Oh my god, we're getting the Michael Mann shot. Oh my god.
Yeah, blue.
This shit is so immaculate. Oh my god.
Beautiful cobalt.
Wait, okay, the ship passing perfectly in the shot. That's just impeccable. Like that's just great timing. Holy shit. Ah, I love the ship passing so much. It adds so much to the scene.
It's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. When I showed my friend Carson this, he was just losing his shit. He was like, "Ah, this is perfect." The sea and the sky. Yeah, again, this elemental aspect of his movies is so important. It again. It is why like the experience of watching his movies can be so emotionally just like overwhelming, and literally you have to let them wash over you. It's just because
Yeah,
it
like you,
seeps into every
it's
aspect of the
I,
frame,
I I
every
feel
part
like
of the
only
environment.
now after seeing this, however many times, like I feel like now I'm like beginning to understand the filmmaking choices. But the first couple times, again, it's kind of similar to like a Michael Bay movie where it just, all right, you can't, like, you gotta not turn your brain off, but like you just literally have to have it be like a force that overwhelms you and kind of destroys you, and then after that you could begin to think about it and rebuild your thoughts.
Mhm. The bit with the old lady complaining about him getting rid of the trash is so funny.
This is a classic bit.
I like the little like key wallet thing that Chow Yun Fat has.
It's great.
Yeah, his paranoia was justified.
See, I love this bit where it's like she can't see what's going on, so it's like the tension is so magnified. It's almost like
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
she's like the Hitchcock, like the bomb under the table,
yeah,
like just like her reaction to these kind of things, and they're just
right.
trying to have a regular conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
The stuff with
The
like
the, the,
Shrimp
the
Head and Mickey
nicknames.
Mouse.
Yeah, yeah, the nicknames they come up with, like the way they try to hide the guns under each other's armpits, like and again, like that cross-armed image, the image of them with their crossed arms is so like I mean,
I
come
mean, it's
on.
iconic.
Also, it's given the Fujos their material,
Look, this is the heat stuff, right? This is what
This
we
is the
want to
Heat
see.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. But whereas in Heat, I mean, Michael Mann is very sort of restrained about the few moments they actually do. Pacino and De Niro do meet each other. Here, it's like the entire rest of this movie is
Well,
just them.
it's much more
Yeah,
intimate in this movie. Like
yeah,
they have a
yeah.
much more physical relationship because they actually meet, fairly
and
early
and
on.
and they're gonna spend more and more time with each other, as their fates and as their goals intertwine with each other.
Oh, dude, him climbing on the fucking side. I don't know how he does this. I love
Yeah.
this shit too. Hey, were you always this earnest? And he's like, I think we're alike in so many ways. He tried to say we're both good at soccer.
God damn,
Oh my
Chow
god,
Yun Fat's
dude,
smile
the cat jumping out of it, dude. That
is
is like a
so
gag from
good.
like a Sam Raimi movie or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Now, speaking of Sam Raimi, like obviously a guy who keyed into what John Woo was doing because he helped bring him over to the States and make Hard Target. And he was
Right.
basically the only guy who believed in him and was like, all right, like Steve, back the fuck off. Just let him like cook, let the chef cook
Yeah,
and he'll make some good stuff.
yeah, yeah.
I think this is the first repeat of a director that I'm doing on the channel. I'm pretty sure.
John Woo.
Because I have done Hard Target. So this will be the second one.
Oh,
Yeah, this will be the
okay,
first
okay.
repeat.
Well, he does. I mean, we're getting two different sides of his career. The early Hong Kong stuff, and then his later American move.
Oh
Although
my
I
god,
think,
some of these
oh,
some of these camera movements are just gonzo. Like especially
oh,
these ones
they're
that are very low
crazy.
to the ground. It's
Yeah, yeah,
astonishing.
yeah. No, but I feel like in many ways this and Hard Boiled feel like his audition tapes for Hollywood in a way. Not in like a derogatory way, but just
What I mean,
in the
it's him going above and beyond to just because it's like he could have made stuff like A Better Tomorrow 3 and just been like, all right, this is my thing, right? But he
Mhm.
pushed himself to such an extent, like, because again, I don't. It's like Hard Boiled, right? Like it takes something like John Wick 4 to even begin to approach the level that Hard Boiled is at. Like,
No, literally,
you,
yeah,
like
yeah.
just the level of what's on display there, you're like, I don't know. This is one of those things I'm not sure if it's
It's
ever going to be quite matched again.
unparalleled. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like the Raid 2 and John Wick Chapter 4 come closest, I
Yeah,
guess.
like,
But you
that's
know,
that's a good
yeah.
trio to have. Oh shit, fuck, so good.
All this stuff where like they stage each other between something like having a Danny Lee's partner on the pipe between them like that stuff is so good in this movie.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah,
he's the one to break the truth to her.
yeah, in a way like now Danny Lee's character feels an obligation to her as well. And that's really fundamentally what brings the two of them together at the end of the day, you know. I think it's interesting. Like maybe there's a subtle misogyny to it, but like John Woo's kind of using the woman, the female sort of character as a bridge for the two men to actually really embrace each other.
Well, this is a classic motif of
Yeah,
Fujo core cinema. Is that it's like
yeah.
we have two guys and they can only like come together if they have like a woman in the center.
Right,
And
right.
I think it's like in a way it's such a strange I don't strange maybe isn't the word. It's a unique way of constructing these relationships because it doesn't it's somehow like more intense because of that in a weird way. Like because they're so aware of Salier's like condition and what's at stake here, it's almost like that delves them like it doesn't have this bullshit of like, oh, we're both competing romantic interests or blah blah. None of that nonsense. Like it's like
Yeah, yeah.
they
Oh,
care
fuck
so
no.
much
Yeah.
about like what's right that it's like they become even more in sync about what needs to be done with each other. And
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know what like as a storytelling device, I just I definitely think it works, but yeah, there's like a little. I wouldn't even say it's misogyny because I just feel like John Woo. It's like frankly in his movies, there's just not a whole lot for women to do. There's
No,
just
there
not.
really isn't. Yeah, this is a boys only movie.
Yeah, basically. Which is why I think it's funny that you love this one so much because this is very much like. I mean, like
Yeah, it's
again,
not.
outside of
Yeah,
Celia and like outside of that old lady, like there's basically no fucking
there's
women.
no. Okay, I look. I appreciate the sheer emotional potency of this movie, and look, it's still like fundamentally a very homoerotic movie. Uh,
Yeah, I love this baby's trying to defend him. He's a complicated man.
Easy complicated. Yeah, me trying to defend my most controversial friends.
Are we talking about me or someone else here?
No, no, no. I, I've had many cases,
But dude, this shit goes so hard. He's got the big ass fuck off, like crazy
Yeah,
revolver, and he just like
it's so good.
pops these two guys with the fucking jeep. There's so many great Hong Kong gunfights that take place in parking lots, or not even
Yeah,
parking lots,
yeah.
but like parking structures.
Parking structures, yeah, or just involving cars generally, yeah.
Oh, dude, that shit's nuts. You fucking see that, dude? I mean, that revolver is so. That's like bigger than the Dirty Harry gun. It's
I
ridiculous. It's
know.
gargantuan.
And it fucking like demolishes whatever it shoots. Like,
Oh my god, this shot! Holy shit! Dude. Like I just
Mm.
any like any scene of Hong Kong from these hills, it's like the most fucking
Oh,
beautiful thing you'll ever see.
it's so good. I want to find this location actually. I should when I go back to Hong Kong, I should try to locate this place. Get a nice selfie. Uh yeah, I mean just having like these apartment buildings in the hills. I mean, yeah, Hong Kong is like a good interesting balance of like these really dense urban settings, but then still having like these massive hills and evocative natural landscapes.
No, it reminds me of you ever see Rumble in the Bronx?
I have not yet, but yeah, there's like hills
Dude,
and
that's
it's
just the
like
funniest thing. It's like
it's
we're in
like
New
bro,
York, and then
we're
like
in New
you look
York.
and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
these especially look like the mountains surrounding Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto. It's not. Yeah, this is not the Bronx, man.
Yeah, you know, I just step outside of New York and there's just there's like valleys and mountains everywhere. No, not
Yeah,
really.
yeah. God, this scene with the two of them.
Oh, I love this bit. We're no longer suited for this lifestyle. We're too nostalgic. God, I'm with you there, brother.
I'm with you there, brother. Yeah. Me watching The Killer. Ah, if only Hong Kong movies are still like this.
Oh man, oh.
Yeah, I mean, the way that this reconciliation between the two of them happens is so because I guess in terms of pacing, it does happen pretty quick, but I don't know. It feels so sincere and it feels
Well,
so
given the location, right,
intuitive,
with the way that he
right?
constructs it and the preciseness of the dialogue, I mean, I 100% totally buy it. Like it's, I
No,
mean,
me
look,
too.
these guys are both on the
Exactly.
verge of
Yeah.
tears. You know, it's great
Yeah.
performances.
Yeah. Yeah.
I truly, like that kind of stuff can be pulled off effectively. It's just you have to be earnest. You have to believe in it. You can't
You have
bullshit
to
your way
believe in
through it.
it, and the actors have to believe in it. The director has to believe in it. Yeah.
I just feel like
Good. Yeah.
the reason why we could get that suspicion with other movies that we get the feeling that, all right, but you don't really take this as seriously as you claim to be.
And it feels just like a plot mechanism. It's like, well, we got to get this shit
Well, it feels
moving.
like the
So
screenwriter
yeah.
like asserting control. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas here, it's just like no, it's like this moment of reconciliation, emotionally, thematically, emerges intuitively from the setting, from what's happening.
God, what really pisses me off about this movie, it is also the Michael Mann thing, where like all the characters are like, let's just travel to our beautiful seaside apartments. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, what I wouldn't give to live in someplace like this.
It's very nice. I mean, being able to see the ocean every day,
It's what you want.
it's
I just
quite
want to go
beautiful.
outside. I want to look into the horizon. I want to be blinded by the reflection of the sun in the ocean.
Yeah, and okay, like her collaborating with the police, like, oh, there's like a sense like, oh, is this another betrayal about to occur?
Yeah.
And yeah, and I mean, we'll see you to the people watching, you'll see what happens, but like yeah, this constant
Can you imagine like, all right, I'm watching The Killer, but first, like, watch it with the Av and Yui commentary. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing it that way,
No, I
listener, you're
respect
insane,
you.
but I respect
You're
you.
insane. Yeah, yeah, you will have my eternal gratitude, but God, the old Hong Kong airport when it was still located in like I think Central or was it some such way? I don't remember. But like the old airport was located in like the urban like the densest like central urban area of Hong Kong.
Oh, I
And
remember you
like
telling me about this. Yeah.
it was like really dangerous actually to land because the plane like might hit something, and it happened a few times. So now it's like off in Lantau Island, but there's just a bunch of open space and it's built like on reclaimed land. So, but yeah, I mean, God, this old airport. I've never been there because I think it was built. It was out of use by the time I was alive. But um,
Well,
God,
what's great about cinema is that you can have a document of it here.
yeah, you can see it forever. Yeah, it's in Chungking Express as well. That's right. Yeah, yeah. All this stuff with the Japanese guys. Like...
It's classic. Well, what I just love is that it's like she can detect him, like even though like
Yes.
you don't like from Danny Lee's perspective, you don't really see where he's at, right? But it's like
No,
she instantly knows.
but we know because I mean we've seen this film before. But I remember showing this to Carson for the first time, and he was like losing his shit this entire scene. He was just like, "Av, where is he? He has to be here somewhere.
Oh my god.
What's his disguise?" And yeah, you think, oh, like this guy, like with the oh, that's him. And
I love, dude, this is such a like a goofy ass motherfucking thing. Like his use of disguises in this.
it's so good. Well, it is kind of like the Mission Impossible thing again, which is why
It's so
which
I
again, hey, there's a reason why he was chosen for the second one.
I know, yeah. Oh my god. But he's always like, it's like he has like the 70s mustache where he's like here, it's like he looks like I don't know, like it's kind of like a he looks like very imperious or something.
Yeah. It's so good.
Oh, like the escape via the baggage claim thing.
Yeah.
So, okay, I remember seeing this in Die Hard 2, where like they go behind where like they have all the baggage.
Uh-huh.
Like, it seems like a fucking hellscape behind
No, it
airports. Like,
is.
it seems like,
It
all right, I don't
is.
want to be back there.
Oh, that's right. You haven't seen Dead Reckoning yet, but
Oh, that's
like
in there too.
all no, this entire airport scene, Dead Reckoning kind of does basically.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, hey, this is why airports sometimes lose your baggage. It's a fucking nightmare back there.
I know you
Man,
people live your life with a code of honor. I'd want to be your friend too. Yeah, me too.
I just love these two guys helping each other. I mean like yeah, like Cho Yun Fan, his friend, like them reconciling and pulling off this airport stuff is so I don't know, it's so sweet to me, honestly, in a way.
No, it's beautiful. I just this is what I want movies to be. It's just these intimate moments between people who really feel something for each other. I think so many of the essential great bits of cinema just as long as you believe in the emotions of what's happening, I think you can really go with whatever does happen.
Hmm.
Whether it's something more restrained or whether it's like this where it's very over the top and very exaggerated. And I think as long as you have that core at the center, it doesn't really matter which direction you go in.
Hmm.
Yeah, that I wrote like a thing a while back about like barbaric versus decadent filmmakers,
Hmm.
and like the basic distinction being it's like whether you're extremely self-conscious and like riffing on something that you're very conscious of is no longer there, and kind of the like it's like an intellectual mode of filmmaking, right? And we know a lot of directors like this, like people who are very rigorous and have this exacting um these exacting standards. And then like with barbaric filmmakers, I always I think of uh people like like Sam Fuller or Wong Kar-wai or John Woo, where there's no pretensions, right? Like there's no aspirations to like like they're not operating within the space that someone else has carved out. They're creating their
Hmm.
own space, whether or not that happens to resemble something that happens otherwise, but they're operating on their own terms, almost as if like they have to reinvent the cinema for themselves. And I think what John really does is, he takes influences, right? He's got his people he's interested in, but really he's not reducible to any of those influences. He's not trying to copy anyone. He's not existing within their worlds or abiding by their rules. And I think that makes his work, it feels eternally fresh. Like a movie like this, it still plays, fucking over 30 years later, because
Yeah.
it feels fresh, it feels direct and earnest and earned.
No, definitely.
Just the most brutal shit, man. People getting fucking popped.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's what holds up about this too, is that like the instantaneousness of death. Like you really feel like in this movie that the characters could die at any time.
Yeah.
Like if you're not like quick on the draw, like you don't get the drop on someone like Chow Yun-fat does multiple times in this, like you will just get got. There's no two ways about it.
Well, that's the noir dimension to this. There's a kind of fatalism to a lot of this film.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think you bring up the difference between something like this and Les Samurai, is I think Melville doesn't have a religious dimension in his work, really. Like he doesn't believe in the idea of redemption or the fact
Right.
that like these characters can change who they are, or like there's none of that, right? Whereas I think John Woo does. I think that's where his Catholicism comes into it. He does believe that that human beings have the capacity for acts of kindness.
Right.
And because like you think about like Army of Shadows, like that's a movie where even the good
Oh
guys,
God.
like the resistance fighters, it's like even then they're
Yeah.
like you got to be a brutal son of a bitch. There's there's no romanticism to it. Whereas there's plenty of that.
I also think, I mean, if to keep going with the Samurai comparisons, the singer characters in each respective movie also play very different roles, I think.
Yeah,
Like I'm forgetting her name, but like the singer in La Samurai, there's almost like a vampire quality to her. She's
yeah.
almost like this.
She's like a siren, right? A
Yeah,
siren
yeah.
portending his doom. And yeah, and this it's much more intimate and emotional.
And actually she's like the instigator of his redemption in a way, or his attempt to
Well,
become a better
yeah,
person.
she's the reason why he breaks out of the life that he does and why all this stuff happens, because
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, one last job, the classic.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can tell you, I just want to say this, like to anyone's listening, if you ever get to the point, I don't care what job you're working, but like if you ever get to the point where you're like, one last job and I'm out, like that, you got to realize, like you'll obviously know that's like not a good job. Like you shouldn't have
Yeah,
been doing
yeah.
that probably, but God bless your attempt to to leave whatever you're leaving. I just feel like for me, it's like if I was like going into work, I'd be like, all right, one final shift. I'd be like, well, it doesn't really mean that much. It's just it's a fucking
Yeah,
wage slave
yeah.
job. But like, for these guys, it's like if
Well,
you're
it's life and death. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
if you're a maniac cop or if you're a professional killer, like one last job, like that means your wings are about to get clipped. It's over.
Yeah.
It's so
And
over.
and you gotta run away because you don't want these guys chasing your ass.
Yeah, and even if you manage to live, you'll fucking end up
Oh,
like
you'll
Clint
yeah,
Eastwood
you'll
in Unforgiven.
no, literally, yeah. Well, you always be looking over your shoulder. No one
Um,
ever leaves the
I
organization.
love this bit where he's like, I don't want to lose a friend like you.
Oh no.
Oh, fuck. I'm not going to cry. I promise myself. Okay, I'm crying.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm
No, no,
crying.
okay. Once you reach like the last 20 minutes of this movie, it's gonna be all tears,
Well,
okay? Like let's just
it
be
just
real
builds and
here.
builds. It builds. What can you say,
Yeah.
right? Also, fuck. Like, oh my God. This whole bit. So what is even the MacGuffin here? They're like, it's like a drive. It's like a computer chip or whatever. It's not about winning or losing. No one can win against everyone. Yeah, this happens in a lot of his movies too, where you have kind of like this come to Jesus moment right
Yes.
before the third act, and Like in A Better Tomorrow is literally like them praying at the shrine, and he's like any man could be a god if he can take control of his own life. Yeah, but you were talking about earlier, you have this parallel editing where you both have them kind of dealing with the ramifications of like losing people, and of course they both do.
Yep.
Oh God, some of these shots are nuts. Again, just like Hong Kong is such a beautiful city. It's like it's a treat to be able to shoot a film there. Like every film that I see from Hong Kong filmmakers, I feel like it's truly a blessing just to look at, and because you have natural landscapes, you have these great urban centers, you just have so much that looks amazing. These these vast horizons, and the weather is always interesting, and I just feel like
And a lot of
it's like one
dense
of the most
green as well.
it's one of the most photogenic places in the world. I feel
Yeah, yeah. Well, as I said earlier, it's like you still have a lot of this dense green, but you also have like a true city landscape. You get the best of both worlds in a sense, you know.
definitely
It's also a port city, so you get the ocean, which is so essential.
it's important. This is the classic John Woo thing of like him wearing this white suit. Like no one in real life wears a fucking white suit, but like there's always a character in one of his movies who's like, yeah, I need to wear the white suit because it looks
But you,
badass, and then
well,
inevitably like it gets covered in blood.
no, that's fundamentally what this is. Like the white suit with the White House, like it's because it's like a blank canvas for the blood and the violence to occur on. Um, they're literally painting with blood and guts in this movie.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing where you confront them. It's like you aren't going to avenge your friend by arresting me.
By
Like what you really
arresting
want to do
me.
is kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I love this shit. I can't believe you actually shot me. I don't miss an opportunity. Like it's such an amazing pun.
Also, I mean, the shot of the two of them with their arms, when they slide on the floor and you have the two of their arms across each other, I mean, God. I I literally gasped like the first time I watched it. I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
This is so gay.
What I love about this scene too is like she almost shoots him close enough to blind him as well.
As well. Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? I once we get to the end of this whole the threat of blindness is
I mean,
ever
look,
present in a way.
as
Yeah.
filmmakers and cinephiles, like it doesn't take much for us to key into the whole like
Exactly. Well,
blindness visual like motif.
is especially for a filmmaker like John Woo, where a lot of the juice is the visuals, you know.
What has to be, dude? Okay, this whole bit where like those guys leap up in like a
Yeah, yeah,
united way
yeah.
off of the fucking like the goddamn like it's like they're all jump off the
Eh,
same trampoline. It's so cool.
it's so good. Yeah, I'm actually not sure if they did trampoline work in this movie, but I wouldn't be shocked if they did. I mean,
See now like all these guys are wearing white too. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
Well,
so good.
again, so you can see the blood markings, you know?
It's almost like they're like cleaners that they're disguising as like these guys who are here to clean your pool. Oh man, John Woo, among other things, he loves his broken glass.
He really does.
Have you ever played the Max Payne video games?
No, I've never played really any video games.
Okay, yeah, I've played all of them. I gotta say, like, they do a pretty good job of replicating what watching these movies feels like, because like, you can kind of like
Okay.
activate your slow motion while you're playing, like you do dives and stuff, and like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
just like so much of it reminds me of this because there's also like, oh, he fucking stabs him, he stabs him
Yeah,
with
he
the
does in
fucking
the
knife.
back.
It's
Dude,
so hardcore.
it's so hardcore.
Can I just say, like, John Woo, God bless this fucking globe for having an artist like him who's just
I know.
like it's just like that's the John Woo touch where he's like, all right, we're in the middle of a fight. I'm just gonna take a fucking kitchen knife and
And
jam
stab
it in your
this guy
back.
in the
Like
back,
what?
yeah. Yeah, even Danny Lee for a moment is like, hot damn,
He's like,
like
what? It's like that part of Better Tomorrow too when he busts out the fucking samurai sword.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Light that shit on fire. Let's fucking
The
go.
movies are made to watch cars explode in slow motion.
Man, John Woo's so fucking good with these shootouts.
Uh, Impeccable. Yeah, some of these like
uh,
hyper wide angle bits of the natural landscape, it's nuts. It's so
it's-
good.
yeah. Yeah, now we're getting some real Fujo shit right
It's
now.
time.
It's time. Just men like, hanging out, talking about their feelings with each other near
It's
a
what
body of
you
water.
want.
Also, this shit using the gunpowder is
Okay,
so cool.
this is this is peak macho bullshit, by the
I
way.
know. I have no idea if this is actually how you do this, but like,
Well, theoretically, like if the bullet passes through you, right? It's like I guess you could do this to cauterize it. It's gonna leave a hell of a scar though. Like I mean,
oh
it's like
yeah.
very improv-y, but like fuck, I mean, what's most important is that it's fucking just an incredible visual.
It looks cool as fuck, which is what matters.
It goes hard.
That's the principle of these movies at the end of the day. It looks cool as shit if we'll do it.
I love this shit. I won't casually kill my enemy and
Kill my
misunderstand him.
enemy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See, I like
The
how like they're
person,
by the
yeah.
river. Like there's this like this presence of water that unites them.
No, exactly.
I always feel like that symbolism in movies is like, it's like kind of keyed into like what the tarot is about with
All,
like the
all,
suit of cups where the water
all,
represents these emotions.
also, if you notice, like, he's been breaking the 180-degree rule, uh,
Oh
to
yeah,
create the visual parallel between the way the two of them are sitting.
100%.
So what if they're on the same side of the screen in both shots?
It
You
doesn't
understand what's
fucking
going
matter. It
on.
doesn't
Like,
matter.
yeah. The visual parallel, the bond, the unity of opposites matters more than
Well,
fucking
to me,
continuity.
the 180-degree. I mean, the whole like continuity is like one thing if that's what you're going for, but it's
Hmm.
look, if you're a master like John Woo is, which he is, he's a master.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you again, you invent the rules, right? Like there's no the rules exist so that you can know about them, so that you can break them when you need to, when you feel is
Right,
like
right.
appropriate. Like that's what they exist for. This, I don't know. Like yeah, this like slavish idea that they tell people. It's like, no, how dare you do this? It's like, fuck, dude. Well, who made this shit up? This shit was invented by like fucking Fritz Lang in the 1920s, motherfucker. Like we're not making that
Uh-huh.
shit up anymore.
Uh-huh.
Now, this whole bit where you have the spherical lens and the candles in the background, where they just become these little
Oh,
floating
it's
dots.
so good. Yeah, yeah.
Now,
God,
what I want to ask is like, who's lighting these candles, by the way?
it's the priest who hangs out there, you know?
Right, the priest in the fucking desecrated church.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I like that. I mean, we don't really get much time with him. I do like this idea that he's just like he deals with Ahjong's bullshit all the time. He's just like, oh, there's Ahjong again, you know? Oh, he's been shot like 6 times. All right, let's get out the little iron, the little steel bowl. Let's get these
Right.
fuckers out, you know?
So the whole idea of like the suitcase with money. So like, does anyone actually use a suitcase anymore? Is this a thing? Have you actually seen a suitcase? I've never seen one in my fucking life. And I just feel like before we were born, they just stopped existing, really.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like my dad. Did my dad use suitcases when he went to work? Not really. He used like the bags with one strap you put around yourself, but like
Yeah.
yeah, not like a suitcase. Like yeah, maybe that's like before our time.
I think so, but like it's so funny that you see movies now where they still have suitcases.
No,
And I'm like,
yeah,
no,
it's like
no motherfuckers are carrying around money in a suitcase.
I mean, honestly, probably the highest like the place that produces the most suitcases in the world are like film prop departments at this point. Like,
Yeah, like so
yeah,
many other things, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like who is the biggest like user the trainers of horses? Like they all work for Hollywood.
Oh yeah, helping a friend out one last time.
I still have some of the old pro left in me. See, okay, so you know how we were watching the snowman and how it had the most like
Oh
useless cross cutting
God.
in the world?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
John Woo does it right here. Like he knows how to unite the emotions of disparate scenes. He does it for a purpose. He has a scheme.
Exactly.
You know, there's an idea that unites everything going
Well,
on.
quite literally, that is the method to his madness. Like he's able to get away with all this because fundamentally that structure is so locked into place that it kind of functions as a base upon which he's able to do all kinds of
He's
crazy stuff.
utilizing meaningful contrast because the scenes have such divergent emotional wavelengths.
Mm-hmm.
It is the meaning of ethics and honor. I see like even the dialogue is like match cut, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. God, all that stuff with like calling him a dog and him trying to preserve his dignity. God, it's really heart-wrenching for me.
See, this is the Chang Che moment, right? It's like even at the moment of dying, he's like, "All right, I'm gonna take some of
Yeah,
you motherfuckers with me."
I'm still gonna keep going. Yeah. Well, there's a moment like that in Resident Evil Retribution where one of the
Oh,
characters
that's
is
right.
like,
Yeah, I forgot about
yeah,
that.
is like holding off them, but he has like one last shot in him. He's smoking
Kill
a
rolls.
cig. Yeah, and we have the last bullet theme reemerging at the height of the dramatic tension,
Ugh.
where it counts the most.
Yeah, Eisenstein be fucking proud. Oh, dude, the fact that like he didn't have the bullet in it, it's so good.
I know, yeah. And like his genuine defeat and disappointment in himself.
He's like fuck. Yeah.
No, I mean, but it really lays the groundwork for how the rest of this film is gonna play out. I find it genuinely quite I mean, I feel his disappointment, you know.
Oh man, that this stuff where he's like, save my eyes, like for her to use. Like
Oh god,
it's
oh god,
it's intense.
oh god. Yeah, that's we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, oh well. Yeah, spoilers, I guess. Now see, we saw like a little bit of doves earlier. So like, okay,
Mhm.
I love John Woo, but the fucking birds. Okay. So like, here it makes sense because like, okay, it's kind of an old spooky church, gothic, right? There's birds hanging around. Dude, some of the other shit where he just has like birds hanging around the most random ass places, like in Face Off. You're like, what are
Yeah,
these guys doing? What is this? What does any of this have to do with each other?
or even like Mission Impossible 2,
Mission Impossible
yeah.
2 is so egregious, and it's just like, all right, because Mission Impossible, like, it's like in MI2, it's like a pigeon or something. It's like
Yeah,
pigeons.
yeah.
Because like I support him in doing it, right? It's cool, it's
No,
awesome.
it's cool. Yeah,
But
yeah.
at a certain point, it becomes like, sure, but here it definitely like feels like I wouldn't really, I don't look askance at it.
Mhm. Oh god.
Yeah, but there's this
Uh,
definite theme where it's like the money is always tainted by a life, by blood.
exactly. Oh god, this scene between the two of them, fuck.
And this is like the whole like 1,001 triad army that gets called in. They're just like, get all the motherfuckers up in here.
But it's okay, they have like 6 billion guns in their duffel bags, so. Oh god.
You're not a dog. You're a man.
Uh... Uh, I'm dying and I don't even have my last bullet. Oh,
Uh,
God.
yeesh.
Him having to kill his best friend. The cut to the cross of the doves, I mean, God. He rips off the fucking tie. The shit's about to get real.
No, man.
He's so fucking pissed.
Oh, holy shit. Oh my god. The guy out the window just gets murked, man.
Yeah, it's fucking destroyed.
Oh, dude, he's like one handing the shotgun. Fuck.
It's so good.
Holy shit.
Also, all these guys just fucking flying around, all this wire work.
I love how he has like the slow motion on Danny Lee is like his face just like
Yeah.
shaking in terror.
Again, like fundamentally, even though these scenes are, about crazy action and stuff, he always takes those moments to have, the insert close up of their face. Like fundamentally, the character moments really matter in these sequences.
That's right. Oh my god, the fucking dude, the particulates in these movies, like just like someone gets
There's
shot and
so
like a
many.
bajillion things fly out.
Yeah, there's like the wall, the plaster, the glass, fucking dust, like everything. The two of them back to back, like sharing their mags and stuff.
That's classic. Now, dude, this is the most hardcore shit in any genre movie where like it's like you go up to someone and you run them down with your gun. Like
Yeah.
you're close enough to punch them and you're just like blah 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 blah. Like you just run through them with the bullets.
I mean, hey, it's gun fu.
Yeah.
The gunfire, the use of the gun is that's
Well, I mean,
that's
you look
where.
at that. I mean, that's the origin of John Wick, right? Like that's where that
No,
comes from.
absolutely, no, 100%.
Oh, dude, this goes so hard. Fuck.
Literally, cinema is just Chow Fat sliding on something with two guns, like.
Yeah, he's sliding.
Dude, the shit with the staircase at the beginning of Hard Boiled, that stuff is so
Oh
good.
yeah.
I mean, what a great set too. You have all the scaffolding that people can fall from and shit as well.
Dude, like when he gets shot and you have like the fucking close
This,
up of the
yeah,
statue.
yeah. It's so good. Well, okay, you know what? Well, okay, it is obviously going back to the beginning of the film where when they're taking the bullets out of him and it cuts the Madonna as well. But honestly, like only God Forgives basically does that as well.
Oh yeah.
When they blow up the fucking dude, when a piece of the statue hits the lens, that shit is so good.
Goes hard.
It's like
Well,
I
it's like
get
he merges the spiritual and the physical here, right? Like
yeah,
this
yeah,
is what John Woo
yeah.
was about.
It's also technically an imperfection, I guess, but it's like, yeah, fuck that, the visceralness, how
Oh, I
just
know
how
it's not an
visceral it feels
imperfection
to
at
me.
all. It looks
Yeah,
cool. I
yeah,
don't know. There's nothing imperfect about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I should say it's an accident, but it's perfect. Well, I'm guessing it's an accident. For all I know, John Woo might have planned it that way. He's like, yeah, just put the camera up right up by it and just let whatever happen happen. Because when you blow something up, it's like you usually just get one take with that and you're done. You gotta get it right. God, them using their little nicknames is so cute.
Oh, that's great. Oh, dude, still get perforated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That goddamn bullet vest.
Dude,
Uh,
okay, this shot right here. Look at this. This is we're peaking, man. This
Her
peak.
beacon, they're just drenched in blood, dude. The like the two doves behind them, it's so perfect. God damn it, John Woo teasing us with the triumphant ending. Ugh.
Oh man, it's such a like. I mean, When I first watched this movie, I legitimately believed like, oh yeah, the boys, we
No
go in,
boy,
right? And
we're
then
going. They're gonna.
right here, when you have the freeze frames, that's when I knew like, oh no, like
No,
that this is
no,
not
it's
gonna end well.
yeah.
All the sparks. Oh my
I
god.
know, yeah.
It's just fucking that constantly.
It's everywhere, everywhere. When you fire the gun, when the bullet hits something, you gotta have all of
It's
it.
just the most explosive mise en scène in history.
No, genuinely, yeah.
Oh man, I forgot that he even kills the fucking priest.
Yeah,
Yo,
he
dude,
does.
fuck off, man.
It's
This
fucked
guy
up.
sucks.
He
Like the
sucks.
John Woo villains are always the worst. They're always like, I fucking hate this
Though
guy.
if you are, yeah, it's like Clint Eastwood bad guys. If you're evil,
You're
you're
right. You're
just
like,
like,
you're just
yeah.
the worst evil imaginable.
Hey, again, the connection to the Western to that tradition again. But
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's
I
just so
mean,
ruthless.
yeah, yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, anytime the bad guy in your movie shoots his own henchman, like,
Yeah,
not
that's
good.
that's when you know you're dealing with a
That also happens in Hard Boiled, obviously.
yeah, yeah, an unprincipled psycho, yeah. Oh, I mean, what? Like this is essentially like a Western standoff, no? I
Oh
mean,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Hard Boiled also ends with this kind of similar confrontation of like
Oh,
I
very
have to juke
much.
you out in order to get the final shot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh dude, he gets destroyed.
Oh
Oh
God.
shit. Dude, when it cross cuts with her,
Me
holy
with
shit.
her. Oh, it's
Brutal.
crazy. Also, the makeup they do for his eyes here is like
It's
wild.
terrifying.
It's like genuinely just like I remember the first time seeing it, I'm like, no way, dude. Oh, it's so over. Fuck.
On a scale of 1 to over, it has never been more over.
It's never been more over. God, when these two are crawling towards each other, and
Okay,
and
this legitimately is like kind of hard to watch for me. Like
I
I
know,
can't it's depressing.
and they miss each other. Fuck. Look, it's the same exact shot of the opening with the church where he's walking out, and Now it's everything has changed. Also, I think I forgot who wrote this. I think David Bordwell might have written about this in Planet Hong Kong, but like the way Chow Yun Fat dies in this scene, like David Bordwell's like I'm not even sure if the scene is shot in slow motion. It's that Chow Yun Fat's so like locked into the John Woo filmmaking style. It's almost like he dies in slow motion. Like the way his
Yeah.
body collapses is like
Oh my god, yeah. I think it's like modulated, but yeah, like it does. It's so eerie. It's
yeah, it
I don't know. It's hard to talk about because I don't know.
yeah,
I care so much about this character. It
it's
hurts
so
to watch him die.
heartbreaking. Yeah, I know. Like this is the end of his saga. Like, dude.
Oh, he's like, I believe in justice, but no one believes in me.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, basically every character in this movie is just gonna be like dead, blind, or in prison, basically.
Yeah, this is like the fucking like the Dirty Harry moment. It's like I'm just gonna murk your ass, motherfucker. It's over.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there isn't a real resolution emotionally. It's just I mean, there's a necessity in what he does here, but
Well, it's like how could he do otherwise? Honestly,
yeah, but it's like a last resort because it's just like everything else is gone for him.
yeah, it's all he's got left.
God, him falling with all the guns around him and the fade transition to Chow Yun Fat playing the harmonica. Fuck.
Dude, do the movies get much better than this? I don't know if they do. It's
I don't think they do. I mean, this is genuinely one of my favorite movies ever.
damn.
I think it's the peak of heroic bloodshed. I think it's still the platonic ideal of what a Hong Kong action movie should be, you know? It's
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a great movie. There's
I love
I love the
it.
movies. Okay, that's the end. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, fair listener, watch this shit, then maybe listen to us talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
and I don't even know what to say. It's just it's a profound movie. It's emotionally
It's
profound.
very profound movie. Immaculate craft. I mean, John Woo at the top of his game. One
Yeah,
of the most emotionally devastating experiences ever. Um,
yeah, yeah. You know about Av. You know about me.
yes.
It's fucking over. We're just gonna, unlike the characters in this movie, we're gonna walk into the sunset and not be dead.
Yes, not be dead or blind or in prison, hopefully.
Well, I don't know about those other two parts, but at least not dead.
This is true. My eyesight's not great to begin with, but
Oh fuck! Wait, it's too late. No, we're already blind. I
no,
can't
we're
find you,
blind.
Av.
No.